Welcome to Rise Up and Fix It, podcast dedicated to empowering women.
A podcast that empowers women and the marginalized community by helping them tap into their creativity.
I'm the writer of the book, The Secrets of Becoming a Boss Bitch with a Heart of Gold. I'm a photographer, filmmaker, and producer. People know me as Ms. Monday. My co-host is Ina Koropkina. She's an actress whose work you might know from films such as Dawn of the Dead and Transformers. She's also the founder and the creative director of Jewel Branding Studios.
We have combined our talents and ideas to share tips and techniques on how our listeners can change life for good.
Welcome to our podcast.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about how you can tap into your superpowers. What are your superpowers? How do you refine them and strengthen them even more? And how can you use them in creating beautiful things?
Episode 2.
So before we begin, we just want to remind the listeners that we're here to inspire and we are here to share our journey. So that being said, I would love to start with this little fact, this little tidbit of information I came across recently, kind of describes or tells us why creativity is so important. Because for a long time, I think there has been a misconception as to creatives being flighty, or why do we even need creativity in this world? Why do we need to tap into it? And this little sentence really kind of hones it in, for me anyway, and I hope it does for you as well. Repressed creativity is linked to emotional isolation and withheld intimacy. So if you are feeling lonely, if you are feeling disconnected, when you're feeling defeated and discouraged, I urge you to find some kind of creative outlet that allows you to connect to your emotions. Because out of that will come so much goodness and so much beauty for yourself and for the world.
Right? We feel like we are a reflection of what's happening inside of us.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, what better way to use something like creativity, make new decisions, and activate parts of our bodies that may be lacking? Like, do you feel that your thoughts have an impact on you, Ina?
Thoughts were programmed into me as a child, and it took me a long time to witness those thoughts and see that they were running my life. And as soon as I did that, it empowered me as an artist. Yeah. It allowed me to start creating from a place of confidence and not worrying about what anybody thinks. I think that's one of the superpowers that a creative person has, is that they're so confident in themselves that they listen to what is manifesting out of them. They're listening to something that's so much bigger than them, and they're acting upon the call to create. And they're not judging it, because the judgment are other people's thoughts and voices and ideas that were put into your mind. So when you're truly creating from a place of detachment and not being attached to other people's ideas or judgments, that is where freedom lies.
Of course.
As a human being and an artist.
Yes, I'm totally on board here. But I just want to add, so yes, children automatically create from this space. And adults, we tend to lose that natural impulse, acting without fear of judgment as we age. The thing is, if you do pick up bad habits as you age and you are hard on yourself, then staying in a comfort zone, which most people do, could be really destructive. Like, I feel like more than ever now, we need to learn to forgive ourselves more than ever. I think back at all the times that I may have made a mistake or have adapted and changed based on my level of thinking. Like, I learned so much. You learn so much. Every day you're learning.
That's right. Conflict is going to arise, and conflict brings up a set of emotions. And the secret is, what are you doing with those emotions? So, like, for instance, I will talk about my process as an artist. I have been going through a lot of various emotions, and out of that manifested a film that I'm writing. And so they were really deep powerful emotions. It was like fire. It was like fuel. And I tried very consciously not to allow them to destroy me. And out of that came a movie. So there was a lot of anger and a lot of frustration, and not even from my own personal life, but even just looking at what's going on in the world right now. This idea of patriarchy running the world, this old way of dealing with situations, the way that society is set up right now, where a woman is physically abused based on what garment, how she wears her garment. That is so antiquated and is so unfair. And so you use this unfairness, this rage, and do things, create things that propel a change.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people see anger as such a negative thing. Using your anger can sometimes be used for the good. And if you're using it for standing up for your rights or standing up for your passion or propelling you to write the script, that is like a fuel, an energy, a burst of energy. Yeah. Anger can be used in a negative way. Like in a
like
war,
physical conflict, war, exactly, what we've been doing for God knows how long. Or you can use it as passion, as fuel, as fire. Yeah. And the opposite of anger is incredible love. You can use love, or you can use anger. That's free fuel for you from the world.
And depression is a very sad state.
Totally.
And that is where it's hard, because you don't have the energy.
Hopeless. Exactly.
And it's much better to be angry than depressed. So bringing it back to the podcast title, Tapping into Your Superpowers, I want to share with our listeners really how I do this. Not going to get into too much detail here. I just want to bring it back to my nickname. So my nickname is Ms. Monday, and it continues to follow me and my life. It's become my business name. It's become my business handle, and I just love Mondays. And this is kind of like a mantra to me. It helps me remember to keep me on track. Like when I feel down, I say to myself, I'm Ms. Monday. I love Mondays. You got to stay keen. Oh,
it's tapping into your childlike, playful side. It's so important. Yeah.
Right? Like you're the fashionista, and you're like this fashionable, flashy, like awesome,
teaching
creative.
Fashion in a flash.
Yes. Teaching fashion in a flash. And that's awesome.
That's right.
You know, and like, it's nice. And then when you create that persona and that brand, or even it's like a brand, right? Like, who are you? Like, create that brand, create that image, and then like embody it and be it.
Absolutely.
And like also in my book, The Secrets of Becoming a Boss Bitch with a Heart of Gold, I have a chapter on this.
Yeah. Superheroes. We created superhero names for ourselves.
We totally did. Yeah. And I talk about how you can do this. I encourage you to do this. Create a superwoman alias that you can call upon or remember when needed. Almost like you are your own life coach, your own motivator.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
You tap into joy by tapping into your body. Connect with your body. Be good to it. Nurture it. Eat healthy. It starts there. And actually, there is a connection between your gut and your brain.
Really?
They made this connection a few years back, that if you have a healthy gut bacteria, a healthy digestive system, your brain is functioning so much better than when you're eating junk food.
Mm-hmm. Like I know if I've had too much to drink, I feel awful. If you're doing something bad constantly, that's going to have a long-term effect.
Yeah,
right?
it's gonna get between you and what you want to achieve in life.
Yes,
right?
Your body is your temple. Mm-hmm. It's where it starts. You got to go inward. And I know Ina and I are big meditators. I think Ina's meditating more than me lately, though. So
you'll catch up.
I'll catch up. I've just been busy with my baby, but it's all good.
You need that time to sit and almost reset. You go into that really quiet space.
What's so cool about meditation, you become the observer. You step outside to see all the thoughts that are there, and then it's like, holy, I'm thinking about a lot of things right now. You know, and it's like, okay, let me put those aside, put them away, and let's come back to me. Right? And then like really coming back to your body and grounding yourself.
Yeah.
And then connecting with your breath and understanding and appreciation for who your being is and being alive, right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that is a superpower. Meditation is so powerful.
As an artist, we highly recommend it. Yeah. The party that we went to last night, I had a wonderful conversation with this fitness expert, Joa Fitness. And she was talking about this 40-day meditation retreat that she went away on. Mind you, she doesn't have kids like us. She can take that 40 days away and do that. But one thing that came out of that conversation, which just blew my mind, was she said, you are there for 40 days and you meditate 10 hours a day sitting. And she says, your body is aching. You're so uncomfortable. You can't look other people in the eyes. You can't talk to anyone. And suddenly by the end, even in the beginning of that experience, she says, you start to appreciate every little thing, the blade of grass, the sky, so aware and so grateful when everything else is taken away and it's just you and your thoughts and your breath and silence.
Isn't that so true?
Yeah. And what else I think remains is our humanity, our senses. So when everything else is taken away and you've got your breath and your thoughts, but you also have your body and your ability to experience life. So your sense of smell, your sense of hearing, taste, touch. And so going back to the name of this episode, tapping into your superpowers, I truly believe our superpowers are our senses. Like for me, my sense of sight is very tickled. I love beautiful things. I like to look at beautiful things. And so I feel like every person has one or more senses that are more acute, more refined. And it would be very beneficial for you to find something to do as a form of vocation, as a form of work, or some way of making money where you're using this one scent. So like, for instance, a chef appreciates good food, appreciates tasty food. And so they're gonna find their job as a chef incredibly fulfilling, just like we find being filmmakers, writers, photographers incredibly fulfilling because we just love to make beautiful imagery, right?
Yeah. Why I love doing photography. I'm such a visual person, just like a chef loves the taste and the smell.
Or a musician loves the music, the sound. Yeah.
Right? But I feel that a lot of people, just like you said, they don't even know what their superpower is, what their super sense is.
Yeah. Well, in order to be a good artist, you have to tap into your senses. You have to connect to those superpowers. But the irony is it also makes your life so much brighter. So you don't actually have to be an artist. I think what we're saying is you have to be a sensual person, like a good artist, in order to really truly enjoy living this life.
Obviously, going on a 40-day retreat would be amazing, but unfortunately, we don't have enough time to do that because we have children and we're mothers.
Responsibilities, work, yes, for sure.
So another thing that I would suggest is you can take up yoga.
In order to have a successful yoga session, you have to breathe through it and really open up. Part of living a sensual life, the basis of it is breath. Connecting to your breath and then using breath to connect to your chakras. So breathing and releasing, and this is what yoga is all about. So if you're feeling unbalanced and unstable and not grounded, the root chakra, that is a good chakra to connect to breathe into, to find yoga poses that allow you to really connect and ground you. So in order to work on all chakras, you have to start with the base chakra. You have to get that foundation and then work your way up.
Yeah, for sure.
And the second one, the navel chakra, governs not only your creative expression, but also your sexuality. On a woman's body, that is where the baby is made, where it grows. And that navel chakra is also connected to your emotions. But all that creation is with the help of the sexual energy. Your ideas are spurred by this sexual energy, and the act of creating a baby is via sexual energy. But for centuries now, this sexual energy has been either repressed, it's been judged, it's been feared, we've shunned it, we've manipulated, it's been abused and controlled. And if we truly come into our power as women, in order to come into our power as women, we really need to connect to our sexuality and truly honor it, truly respect it, and use it in creating things. The idea of sex will be taught to you, and you have to question it. What ideas, what knowledge, what understanding is being fed to you about sexuality? Because it could be very damaging what you're being taught.
It's a very powerful energy. And I guess that's the best way to describe it, is to tap into that energy, that place within the body that is where creation is made, where the baby is made.
There was this one book I was reading called The Road Less Traveled, and there was this story, and I hope I do it justice as I retell it, about this one woman who was raised in a very religious household, and she was basically brainwashed to believe that her sexual desires were a sin. And she got married to a man, and everything seemed fine. She was happy. And all of a sudden, she had a mental breakdown out of nowhere. They had to put her in a psychiatric ward, and she was in a corner just rocking herself and just mumbling in a really, really fast-paced manner, something nobody could understand what she was saying. And so in the book, the psychiatrist talks about how he healed her and how he got to the bottom of what was causing her so much internal pain. Like she thought she was dying. And then eventually the gibberish that they figured out, it was her praying over and over and over and over and over again, because she was trying to save her soul. She thought she was going to die because she thought it was sinful for thinking lustful thoughts about another man. So there's something in her life that was missing. She fell in love with someone, and she couldn't figure out where that desire for another human being was coming from. And through really intense, long sessions with a psychiatrist, they got to the bottom of all these negative ideas that were fed to her that caused her so much pain. And so at the end, she was healed. Her and her husband realized he was gay. They came together looking at their marriage as absolutely perfect based on what was fed into their minds by people they grew up with. And so they thought everything was peachy and perfect, and they had a perfect marriage. And then the unconscious becomes conscious. Something started spilling out of her, and when it did, she started judging it. All these repressed feelings and emotions and judgments around sex. With the help of a qualified psychiatrist, she had to face all these limitations that were put on her, these thoughts that were fed into her. And she had to question her reality. She had to question how she looks out into the world and at sex.
Wow. Can you imagine what that would be like? Imagine being married to someone who you find out later is gay, but being in the right relationship is so important.
It's a powerful, sexual energy is incredibly powerful. It's just a matter of approaching it with mindfulness and awareness.
Definitely.
Again, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. And we have a website, some of the books, actually, all the books that we mention in this podcast and quotes, they're going to be up there for you to look at. And we have episode 3 coming up next week. In episode 3, we talk about the art of manifestation. You are the queen of manifestation. So we're going to get some amazing value out of that one.
Thank you so much.
Follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, and go to our website. We've got amazing merch, and you can also subscribe to our newsletters where we send out letters sharing with you everything that we're doing and the latest on our projects.
Awesome. All right. Till next time.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Everything we say on the show are our personal opinions and ideas. We are experts in our own experiences. Yes, if we say something that sparks questions here, or if you want us to expand on anything we discuss here, feel free to reach out or comment in the section below, or direct message us depending on what platform you are on, and we will try to answer when we can. Welcome to Rise Up and Fix It, a podcast dedicated to empowering women.
A podcast that empowers women and the marginalized community by helping them tap into their creativity.